Patrick, the 99th player in VFL AFL history to get to 300 games. It's not a number that's often reached, but must sit pretty comfortably with you to be in that class.
Yeah, it's very humbling. It in my wildest dreams, first playing AFL footy 14, 15 years ago to now, it's been a wonderful ride, and it's something I'm very proud of, and really it's the people around you and the organisations that make it possible, and playing with great players and having wonderful coaches. That's the key ingredient to playing for so long, I think.
It's been an intriguing journey. 2 clubs, Brownlow medal, but premiership success is what's eluded you. I suspect that the career fulfilment comes from having a premiership medal to dangling in it.
It's certainly. I think it's the, it's the finishing piece, if you will. But I don't think that necessarily defines players. It's what we all play for. But there's so much of our game that I think you take enjoyment from, not just the final game in September. Now clearly would be a wonderful thing to achieve, and we've given ourselves a shot this year. We're in a good position, but there's so much enjoyment external to just that I've got out of being involved in AFL footy.
7 years since you ran out with Adelaide for the last time. You probably got the loudest cheer outside the boys departing the Cats in round 22 or whatever it was, 2015. It's been a whirlwind the last 7. You wonder where it's sort of gone. It's been wonderful, to be honest. You're in a good place when you love walking into the football club every single day, that it's never a grind, that there's fun to be had, train hard when we need to, but it's just a really enjoyable place to turn up and work every day. I suspect that sort of sentiment, it's sort of echoed across our playing group. So it's been special.
Chris, how would you describe the achievement of 300 games and also the time that he's been here at Geelong?
Well, it's difficult to come up with the right words to do it justice. I think 300 games generally speaks for itself for any player. As Tom mentioned, 99 players in the history of the game speaks to just how significant it is. But in terms of Pat's career, 300's almost a bit of a blip on the journey. It's just the individual accolades aren't something he'd be comfortable with me speaking about in this forum. And again, I think they're sort of on the record and they speak for themselves a bit. From the club's perspective, and I said this a long time ago, but we were at a real point of transition when Pat came in, and he changed our club for the better. Not just, obviously on the field, but that wasn't the most significant part in my opinion. He changed us off the field. It gave us, our playing group some confidence, and has really influenced the culture that, we continue to try to build. We understand it's evolving, and he's just been integral to that. So, the privilege for all of us to have been a part of that journey can't be understated.
How much was it a relief after 2016, Chris, that you didn't have to plan to stop him, you could plan to use him?
Yeah, all the Jeremy Cameron fits in that category as well. One of the bonuses is you don't have to worry about them twice a year the way we previously did. But Pat, he obviously had the connection to the region, so there was an extra watch from our perspective on him. But even without that, just the admiration we had for him as a young player who was really sort of taking the competition by storm was really significant. But again, we couldn't have forecast just what an impact that he would have over our whole club. That's the part that I'm most impressed by.
In terms of that, what is it that we don't see? We see what he does when the lights are on and the game's on, but what is it we don't see midweek and all that?
Well, you don't see his humour, which is a good thing. But look, again, it might sound really simple, but he's found a way to embody what we want to be as a footy department in particular. We want to create space for all the individuals to be themselves. So when one of your best players lives that and sets that example, it makes all the younger players who are a little less secure, in their footy journey, a bit more comfortable to be who they are without having, a really domineering type, leader as your best player. Pat, he models the behaviour pretty well. Some of it doesn't come off as well as he would like, but he's doing his best.
You had a small hiccup a couple of weeks ago, Pat, but how's the body feeling now as we head towards the serious stuff this year?
Really good. Yeah, I'm fortunate. Yeah, it's probably the best I've felt this time of the season, to be honest. So we've had a really strong year, but for me it's sort of been building and building over the last sort of 6 weeks. So body's feeling great, and I think that's the case for the vast majority of our players. You know, we've had and we've really stuck to our guns around not pushing players when it isn't needed. Even though we've played against some really good opposition, we've still brought players in and out, and it puts us in a really strong position. Doesn't guarantee anything, obviously, but there's a really good feeling within the group, physically, mentally. Like, it's a long season as it is, but now the real stuff starts. Post our final game, which is another opportunity for us to refine our game.
It's pretty obvious when you get to 300, you have to play a lot of games, a lot of times every season. You played over 20 most seasons. Were there times where you pushed when you shouldn't have your journey, and you sort of realise that, or was that just you were younger?
Probably, but at the same time, when you're younger, you have the ability to back up a little bit easier than you do when you get that little bit older. But you also have the maturity as you get a bit older to make a few more performance-based decisions around what is best for the entirety of the season and not just the here and now. So that's probably the wisdom that you get with the longer you play.
Just on the expectation of the footy team, Chris, you spoke about that. Obviously, there is some external expectation. How do you harness that and make sure that the players are harnessing that expectation, that anxiety you touch on, in the best possible way?
Well, the main thing is that we encourage everyone to think the way that we think, and not the way that others are trying to make us think. We want to be in the moment and we want to embrace it. We don't really feel there's a choice, to be honest. I guess you could try to protect yourself from that expectation and protect yourself from all the extra stuff that comes with a final series, but it's really difficult in this day and age. So I think the other choice, the more practical choice, is to embrace it, enjoy it for what it is, but again, not be towed away into a way of thinking that is kind of external to what we're trying to do. We want to be in the moment. We try to set ourselves up every year to give our club the best chance to be a part of it, and we completely appreciate that comes with expectation, but we'd much rather have that pressure, the privilege of that pressure, than be trying to explain why we're not in contention at this time of year. So yeah, I think it's all pretty logical, it's all pretty exciting, but you can't do great things in life without a little bit of anxiety as your partner. So I think that's all a pretty positive thing, isn't it, Pat? We're feeling good about it.
I know every week you want to improve, Chris, and you want to every single week from here on in, but are you in any way happy with where you're at right now? As far as you can be, are you pleased with where you're sitting?
Oh, never content. I mean, really, the aim at this time of year is to give yourself the best chance. So I think we've done that, but also understanding really clearly that we need to continue to improve. The home and away season part, has given us a chance. Now we need to find a way to, keep improving our game. And that I don't think that the next 6 or 7 weeks requires huge change from us. What the things that have worked for us will continue to work for us if we do them well. We're just trying to incrementally improve the next moment we're involved in.
This week, I think you mentioned sort of on Saturday night that you might be looking at managing some players this weekend. Obviously, Jeremy's out. Any others that we should expect to be coming around?
Yeah, so Stanley won't play, Cameron won't play at the moment, so we've got a little bit more to work through before we give you any clarity on the others. But I'll just repeat what I've said a number of times this year, where our policy has been to develop a really deep squad, and the more players that we've had with some sort of recent AFL experience, we think is potentially going to help us into September. So there might be sort of 1 or 2 changes in addition to Stanley and Cameron, but we're just not quite sure where things are going to land just yet.
Segler coming in Stanley.
Probably, yeah, probably, but we've just got a bit to work through there.
Duncan, Smith, O'Connor will play based
Yeah, they're likely, yeah.
Just on Cameron, how's he feeling? Are you confident that he'll be fully fit on finals time?
Yeah, I am, because the people who are looking after that are really confident. So I'm just echoing what they've said. They were really confident, in the day or two post-game that he'd be available for the first final. That case has only strengthened in the last day or two. It's the same for Stanley. So, yeah, those two are right on track. We'll let you know if it changes. But I think even, speaking to Jeremy, and Reece as well, they've both been running. They're on the good track, we think.
Sean Higgins, do you try and get an AFL game into him for the finals?
No, well, he's one of the players that we need to just work through a little bit. So there's a few balls in the air. So I wouldn't like to individualise at this stage.
You obviously can't replace what he does, but do you try and replace Jeremy in the side with a taller forward this week, or have you worked that out yet?
No, we haven't. So it's still, they're the kind of things that will sort of set the dominoes going, which individuals we think would benefit from some game time, and then sort of how that fits into the structure. And the two things are separate. So, once we decide which one's a priority, then, as I said, the other dominoes will fall from there.
There's 1 week to go, obviously, Pat, before finals. We get excited outside of the footy club and outside of that stuff. Do you get excited as a player when you look at the calendar and there's 1 week and then we're into September?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and that's a message from our coaches as much as anything. Enjoy and embrace this time of the year. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time for us as a club to still be involved, and it's a privilege to play in. It's not a given every year. There's hard work that needs to go into it, and we've given ourselves a chance this year. So, without sounding too methodical, we've got 4 quarters this week, 4 opportunities each quarter to improve our game style, refine it for what shapes to be a really exciting final series. So it's why you play.
We've got a really good looking crowd here. I think you passed the membership record. What does that mean for you guys after a tough couple of years to know you got the backing of the fans as always?
Yeah, and we've had that for a really long period of time. I think year on year we've been able to break records, and I think at 70,700 and something, which is a testament to the incredible support that we've had. And as you mentioned, the last couple of years haven't been ideal for anyone. Yet our supporters continue to, turn up, sign up, and they make such a huge contribution to the games when it's tight. And they've gotten us over the line a few times this year where, things have gotten a bit dicey. So it's great to have a few supporters here and members here today. And it's, from a club perspective, we can't thank them enough for what they've enabled us to do as an organisation.
You sort of mentioned it there. There's a big hole in the grandstand, but it seems like it's been louder here this year than before. Have you noticed that on here?
Yeah, and it's that's the environment that we want to create and want to generate. But it's one thing to say, it's another thing for our members to deliver that. And there's been games where it's been tight and we've needed that spur on, and they've provided it. So the stand, as you mentioned behind us, it's going to make an even bigger difference once that's built. But they're the bedrock of our organisation, and they're the part that make it so special running out as a player.
Yeah, and I think if I can just add to that, I think pre-pandemic, football clubs, certainly ours, tended to think in terms of the value that we could provide our members, and it wasn't until the pandemic where we couldn't provide that value that you realise just how irrational the support from our members and our supporters was. It sort of defies any value proposition. It's so much more than that, and we'll be forever thankful, because we were on our knees. We weren't sure whether we were going to survive or whether the members would come back at all, much less hang on through 2 years of virtually no footy. So to think we're going to have that stand finish next year and 40,000 screaming Cats fans, 9 or 10 or 11 times a year into the future is just, it's hard to describe how exciting that is. So it's an exciting time of year for us. And we can't guarantee necessarily what we're going to do in the future, but we will guarantee our members that we're going to do the same thing with them that we do with our players every year. And let's look them in the eye and say we're going to throw everything into this season to get ourselves in the position, hopefully, where we can have a crack at it. So a big thank you to all of you. It really is amazing. Still, what are we, 3 years into it? It's just it's hard to come to terms with how much support we've had. We'll forever be thankful.